Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer still insists that Manchester United are in the title race despite a 10-point gap. He said after our 1-1 draw with West Brom the other week that we are still in the title race and will not settle for second in the title race. We reclaimed second after beating Newcastle 3-1 yesterday night at Old Trafford. It was good to get back to winning ways in the Premier League because prior to the Newcastle game we'd only won 1 of our last 5 in the Premier League. And top 4 is now in our hands, and top 4 is our aim. It wasn't the best of performances against Newcastle, but we still got the win. It was goals from Marcus Rashford, Daniel James and Bruno Fernandes. From the penalty, Newcastle's goal came from Maximin. We also had a very good win against Real Sociedad in the Europa League round of 32 first leg. We're beating them 4-0. So basically we are into last 16 of the Europa League. We do play Real Sociedad in the second leg at Old Trafford on Thursday. I think Solskjaer has confirmed now that Amad Traore and Solskjaer won't be starting. But actually Solskjaer said that Amad Traore could start on Thursday. He came on in the 4-0 win against Sociedad in the first leg and made his first team debut. And I said he's going to be good assets for the first team because Amad Traore had been doing very well for the under-23s. And Solskjaer, of course, came on yesterday to make his first team debut. I do think that we will win another title at some point. You know, if we make the right signings in the summer, then possibly we could win it next season. We haven't won the Premier League since 2013. Solskjaer must win a trophy at Manchester United to avoid the sack. The FA Cup is a chance of a trophy, and the Europa League is a chance of a trophy. We haven't won a trophy since 2017, and a club of our stature need to be winning trophies. I am certainly Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in. He's made very good progress at Manchester United in the last year or so. There's been some games where Solskjaer's got the best out of the team. Certain players are also improving. In some games as well, he's making tactical changes. We've got a fantastic away record in the Premier League. We haven't lost away from home in the Premier League for over a year. And we're unbeaten in our last 9 away games in all competitions. We've been starting to win more games at home, but we've been far better away from home than we have been at home. You know, Solskjaer's got us to the FA Cup quarter-finals. It's going to be a tough game now against Leicester. You know, he's got us to the last 16 of the Europa League. Got us to the EFL Cup semi-final this season. Lost to Man City 2-0. Solskjaer did well last season in his first full season at the club. got us qualification for the Champions League, got us third, and he guided us to 3 semi-finals. You know, Solskjaer's got rid of a lot of the deadwood since he got recommended in. And I think he has made good signings as Solskjaer. You know, despite our reluctance to back him regarding transfers, Solskjaer spent over £200 million at the club. He's brought players like Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire in. He brought Bruno Fernandes in and Odion Ighalo in on loan. And he brought the likes of Donny van de Beek in, Alex Telles, Edison Cavani, Facundo Pellistri and Amad Diallo Traore. I don't know if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is a long-term manager for Manchester United. You know, time will tell. But I think he's going to be given at least another season at the football club. This is his second full season at the moment. And like I've already said to you, if we finish in the top 4, top 3 this season and we win a trophy, I think that will represent a good season for Man United and that will give us something to build on. Obviously, there has been quite a lot of Man United fans that have been Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out. You know, I was demanding Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out earlier on this season, but he has been criticised a lot as Manchester United manager. We've obviously enjoyed good periods under him and we've enjoyed bad periods under him. He was lucky not to be sacked earlier on this season. He was lucky not to be sacked at the first part of last season because we enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years. I'm expecting Solskjaer to sign a new contract at the end of the season. Now, it did recently say that Solskjaer's future is in doubt because Solskjaer admitted that he's still waiting to open talks over a new contract. Now, it said a few weeks ago that we will wait until the end of the season to begin contract talks with Solskjaer, and it said we could offer him a new 2-year deal on one condition, that's if we qualify for the Champions League. Solskjaer's into the final 18 months of his current contract. In March 2019, he signed a 3-year contract with the football club. But yeah, he's been Man United manager now over 2 years, and reflecting how long he's been at the football club, he has gained managerial experience and he's learnt quite a bit on the job. You know, Man United is the third club in his managerial career. Before he was with us, he was at Mulder. He won a few Norwegian titles at Mulder. And before he was at Mulder, he was at Cardiff. And his record at Cardiff was absolutely disastrous. Don't forget as well, Ollie did manage the Man United reserve team for a couple of years. So he watched some of this team grow and develop. But whether Ollie succeeds as Man United manager or not, you know, I'll still always adore him, just like all Man United fans will, because he is a club legend. He was a great player for the football club for 11 years. He flourished under Sir Alex Ferguson's guidance. This year's summer transfer window is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's biggest in his managerial career, because we do need to make signings in the summer transfer window. And Solskjaer's recently confirmed that he's got the backing of the owners to recommend the players that he wants in. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants 3 summer signings. Apparently he wants a forward, he wants a right winger, and he wants a centre-half. And he's set to sit down with Ed Woodward to negotiate our business in the next couple of weeks. said a few weeks ago that we are prepared to smash our transfer record in the summer, and Woodward set to hand Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a huge war chest to sign top players in all areas. So I'm expecting, the board to back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in the summer transfer window, because I don't think the board have backed Solskjaer enough so far. Solskjaer's endured 4 transfer windows as permanent Man United manager. And like I said to you, he has made good signings, but hasn't got all the players that he wanted to recommend in as yet. Woodward's come out several times to show his support for Ollie, and Woodward did say towards the end of last year that he will back Solskjaer with a long-term plan centred around summer transfer windows. But the board has been one of the biggest problems at the club for several years. Main explanations is reflecting how poor our recruitment policy's been. We've overpaid for players. And none of the managers have been backed enough since Ferguson retired. And obviously, for a long time now, a lot of our fans have been very critical of the board. It would be beneficial if we could get a director of football in. I've said to you, that's one of the structural changes that we need at the football club. And it will help Ole Gunnar Solskjaer more. We've been in for a director of football now for quite a while. I said we've got to get someone in who's obviously got the experience, and also it would be beneficial if we could get someone in who knows the culture of the club. But like I say, there has been a lot of players on our agenda. You know the news on Erling Haaland. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would love to sign Erling Haaland. And it would be good to see Ole Gunnar Solskjaer reunite with Erling Haaland, because Solskjaer knows the player well. Solskjaer was the one that gave Erling Haaland his debut at just the age of 16 at Molde. Solskjaer, not so long ago, made a new Erling Haaland transfer admission, and he opened up on the Erling Haaland relationship and said he's following Erling Haaland's progress. Back in December 2019, Solskjaer and Woodward went to Norway to meet up with Erling Haaland to negotiate a possible move to Man United. Apparently, Erling Haaland's demanding a £70 million contract if he is to leave Dortmund. It's obviously £70 million a year, which equates to around £300,000 a week. Since Haaland's arrival at Dortmund, though, he has been a revelation. He's been at Dortmund now over a year. Dortmund paid just £17 million for him. And he's got a contract with Dortmund until 2024. He has a £68 million release clause, but it doesn't become active until next year. Earlier on this season, Erling Haaland's father, Alf Hinge Haaland, was talking about his son's transfer links to Man United. The news on Jules Koundé from Sevilla. Apparently, he's our top target for the summer transfer window. And La Razón, which is a Spanish outlet, they recently said we are considered the favourites to sign Jules Koundé. We are prepared to pay £61 million for him. Also, Real Madrid want him. Jules Koundé is young. He's a centre-back. His performances for Sevilla have been outstanding this season. He's played 70-odd games. He's got a contract with Sevilla until 2024, and Sevilla paid just £22 million for him from Bordeaux in the summer of 2019. So he's been at Sevilla now almost 2 years. He said the other week we had a 5-man centre-back shortlist. We do need a centre-half. We need someone to go alongside Harry Maguire in our back line. There was narratives coming out regarding Kalidou Koulibaly recently. He says we are in a transfer race with Man City for Koulibaly. Fabrizio Romano, who's a very reliable Italian journalist, he said City wanted him last summer and City were in advanced talks with Napoli, but they obviously couldn't come to an agreement. Few clubs have been in for Koulibaly. There was narratives coming out about Kalidou Koulibaly in January, but Napoli said he wasn't going to leave in January and they slapped a £100 million asking price on him. Koulibaly is regarded as one of the best centre-halves in the world. You know, he's been at Napoli now like 7 years. He's played over 270 games in all competitions. He's made 198 appearances in the Serie A. He's got a contract with Napoli until 2023. Napoli paid around 6.5 million for him from Genk back in 2014. Despite the coronavirus pandemic, I am still expecting us to do business in the summer transfer window. Like I said though, it was a disappointing January transfer window for us. We only saw one arrival and that was Amad Diallo Traore. But Solskjaer did say a few times during the January transfer window that he wasn't expecting any signings. We was focusing a lot more on the outgoings in January rather than the incomings. And we saw a few players leaving the January transfer window. We saw Jesse Lingard go out on loan to West Ham. We saw Facundo Palestra go out on loan. We saw Tiden Mengi go out on loan. Odin Igalo said his farewells to the club. Marcus Rojo left the club and Timothy Fosu-Mensah left the club. And I'm expecting more players to leave Manchester United in the summer transfer window. Now, like I updated you yesterday, Solskjaer is prepared to sell either David De Gea or Dean Henderson in the summer transfer window. I think it will be De Gea. Well, it should be De Gea, not Dean Henderson. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has warned De Gea that his number 1 jersey is under threat. And apparently 3 clubs want De Gea. And we're looking at Donnarumma as a possible replacement for him. Now, Paul Scholes has come out and said that De Gea is becoming a real problem for Manchester United. And Gary Neville come out the other week and said that Solskjaer must deal with the goalkeeper situation. But De Gea, like I said, is going to remain our number 1 for at least this season. You know, this is his 10th season at Manchester United, so he has been a long servant. A few years ago, De Gea was the best goalkeeper in the world, but in the last couple of years, he's made calamitous mistakes. And he has become a liability, reflecting on that. He's made over 500 appearances for the club in all competitions. If we sell De Gea in the summer, I think we can get from between 50 to 60 million pounds. If you'd have asked me a few years ago, I'd have said from between 90 to 100 million pounds. You know, Solskjaer has admitted that it's becoming more and more difficult to leave Dean Henderson out of the side. You know, Dean Henderson has done well in the games he has played in this season, and I think Dean Henderson is now reliable enough to become our number 1 goalkeeper. He has got that experience behind him because he endured 2 successful loans with Sheffield United. And before the start of this season, Dean Henderson signed a 6-year contract worth £120,000 a week. And Dean Henderson has got a lot of development in him. Is Dean Henderson like 7.5 years younger than De Gea? So it wouldn't make any sense to offload Dean Henderson this summer. Phil Jones, I'm expecting him to leave this year. I'm surprised he didn't leave in January, but Solskjaer came out and said that Phil Jones is going to be given a second chance. Jones has been out of injury for over a year now. This is Phil Jones' 10th season at Manchester United. He's the only outfield player that's still here since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. Juan Mata, I think there's a chance that he'll leave the club in the summer. Juan Mata's current contract does expire in the summer. But we do have an option to trigger his contract for a further year. Juan Mata doesn't get in the team a lot now. He has played some games this season. Don't forget earlier on this season, Mata rejected an 18 million a year contract offer to play in Saudi Arabia. Mata has been at the club now over 6 years. He's had a good career at Man United. We got him in a deal worth £40 million from Chelsea back in 2014. Do you think there's a chance we'll sell Matic in the summer? He's not one of our first choice midfielders, but he still gets his chances, Matic. And as you all know, I've always had my reservations about Matic because he's always been a slow player and he is aging up now. Matic has been at the club now almost 4 years. We got Matic in a deal worth £40 million from Chelsea back in 2017. Like I said, there's still a chance that we will offload Paul Pogba in the summer transfer window. Paul Pogba has had a long-running transfer saga. There's 3 clubs that are in for him: Real Madrid, Juventus and PSG. He said we revealed our asking price for Paul Pogba. It's £100 million. Paul Pogba's agent, Mino Raiola, is desperate to get his client out of the football club this summer. Mino Raiola has been criticised quite a few times and he's not got a good relationship with Man United. Mino Raiola admitted recently that he's working quietly on Paul Pogba's transfer to avoid offence. And he refused to comment on Paul Pogba's future. Mino Raiola made an announcement back in December regarding Paul Pogba, and Solskjaer was furious with Mino Raiola's announcement. Now, it said a few weeks ago that we'd held talks with Paul Pogba over his future, and Solskjaer come out and said that Paul Pogba's happy and he suggested he could sign a new contract. Not so long ago, Paul Pogba's brother Matthias Pogba came out and said that Paul Pogba could leave for nothing next year, so he's advised us to sell Paul Pogba this summer if we are to get the money, because he said he's got no intentions of signing a new contract. There was few narratives coming out back in January saying that Pogba was considering making a U-turn at the club, and he contradicted his agent Mino Raiola for the second time. Pogba's out with a thigh injury at the moment. Solskjaer did confirm prior to the game against RB Leipzig. Prior to the game against Real Sociedad, that he's going to be out for the rest of this February. So Pogba should be back in early March. Pogba is a big miss. You can see that we lack quality in the midfield without him there. Pogba was out earlier on this season with an ankle injury, and he was out for the vast majority of last season with an ankle injury. Earlier on this season, we triggered that 1 year extension on his contract, so he's under contract with the club until June 2022. And he's our most expensive signing at the moment because we paid £89 million for him. But in recent months, his performances have been good, and he's been enjoying the best period in his Man United career since he rejoined. Anthony Martial, I don't think he's got a long-term future at Manchester United. Should we consider offloading him in the summer? But Solskjaer's actually backed Anthony Martial to rediscover his form. I don't think we'll sell Anthony Martial in the summer. He's been out of form for the vast majority of this season. Martial's had chances, but he just hasn't converted them. Last season he was good, Martial, and he was good in his debut season under Louis van Gaal. Martial's been at the club now over 5 years. Don't forget Solskjaer was the one that gave him that number 9 shirt. Romero, I think we're also going to offload him. But like I've said to you, these players that are really, really improving at Manchester United. You've got Luke Shaw that's really, really improving. He's getting forward well. He's getting into good positions. He's putting good crosses into the box. Defensively, he's been superb. And Luke Shaw still remains our first choice left back despite the arrival of Alex Telles. Eric Bailly's done well in the games he has played in this season. He goes well alongside Harry Maguire, they complement each other well. And I certainly prefer Eric Bailly to Victor Lindelof. I've got strong reservations about Victor Lindelof. He's become a liability, is Victor Lindelof, reflecting on his poor performances. And Wan-Bissaka, I've been impressed with him in some games this season. In some games he's got forward well, defensively he's been superb. And sometimes Bissaka's got into good positions and he's put good crosses into the box. This is Wan-Bissaka's second full season at Man United. Fred, I think he's also really, really improved. He's made over 100 appearances for Man United in all competitions. McTominay's enjoyed good games this season. McTominay's actually out with injury at the moment. Donny van de Beek's a good player when he plays, but he don't really play much. He's played nowhere near as much as I expected. Most of Donny van de Beek's appearances come from the bench. He's only started 2 games in league this season. He's recently been out with a muscle injury as Donny van de Beek. But earlier on this season, Solskjaer promised Donny van de Beek more opportunities at Manchester United because Solskjaer made an admission saying that Van de Beek was unhappy. We got Van de Beek in a deal worth £40 million. And he can play in like 3 different roles. Bruno Fernandes has obviously been exceptional since he come in. Well, in most of his games he's been very good, but there's been a few games where he has looked off the pace. Still our best player and still the best signing we've made since Ferguson. Rashford's done very, very well. We just need to keep Marcus Rashford out wide on the left because that's where he's more effective. Much better on the left than he is on the right, but in general he's better out wide than he is centrally. Mason Greenwood, we've been getting the best out of him. Despite scoring, not so long ago Mason Greenwood signed a new 4-year contract at Manchester United. Edison Cavani, he's made a fantastic impact since he's come in. Cavani's out, I think, with a muscle injury at the moment. Solskjaer says Edison Cavani is set for contract extension talks, so I presume we're going to trigger that 1-year extension on his contract because Cavani has said he wants to stay at Man United for next season. I've been hearing narratives that Boca Juniors are in for Edison Cavani. Solskjaer, like updated yesterday, has demanded more from our strikers. He wants Rashford, Martial and Greenwood to be more clinical in front of goal and doesn't want us to be too reliant on Bruno Fernandes. But like I said, in regards to Solskjaer, I think he's the best manager since Ferguson because we've had periods where we've been very consistent under Ollie and we didn't see consistency for a long time. Let's put into the equation, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is inheriting players from other managerial eras. We spent over £1 billion on players since Ferguson retired and must have brought around 37 players in. Obviously, a lot of the players Van Gaal brought in are no longer here. There's still some players here from Louis Van Gaal era. There's still some players here from the Jose Mourinho era. Solskjaer's let a few of Jose Mourinho's players go now. Matt's still here from the David Moyes era, but obviously Moyes only brought 2 players in anyway. And there's only 2 players here from the Sir Alex Ferguson era, Phil Jones and David De Gea. Ole is our 4th permanent manager since Ferguson. We sacked 3 managers since Ferguson. That was David Moyes, sacked him after 10 months, sacked Louis Van Gaal after 2 years, and we sacked Jose Mourinho after 2.5 years. And in regards to Daniel James, I think he's getting his way back into the team now because he's played our last 2 games and he has scored. You know, Daniel James didn't play for quite a while prior to the game against Real Sociedad, and there was narratives of Daniel James possibly leaving the football club. But there's quite a few players that don't get in our 11 now. You know, Brandon Williams doesn't get in our 11, Jones doesn't get in our 11, Tuanzebe doesn't get in our 11, Mata doesn't play a lot. So there you go. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.